Afternoon everyone, and welcome to today's craft video and how I made my display for my log cabins. I'm really happy with how this one turned out, guys, and I absolutely love it when it's lit up. I am so over the moon with it. It's going to sit next to my woodland that I made a few weeks back, and yeah, I can't wait to get onto the next section, which is going to go next to that. So I didn't do a list of things that you will need for this because when I started making the video I didn't know exactly what I was going to use, but the first thing you will definitely need is some of the cabins. I made two of these in a previous video. I will link it in the description below if you want to check that out to show you how to make them. But yeah, I used two for this display. And then I'm just using my woodland, which I made, I think it was last month, it might have been 2 months ago, I'm not too sure. And I'm using this as a template because I want my log cabin display to be exactly the same size as this display, as it's going to sit next to each other. So I'm just going to measure this and then I'm going to create a base for the cabins. So I'm just taking a ruler and I'm just measuring the width from the front to the back, and it's 7.5 inches. And then I measured across the front of the box and that was 20 inches. And then the height was 2 inches. And then the backboard is 9 inches. And then I'm just going to use an old cardboard box and I'm going to cut out them measurements. So I'm going to cut out a square that's 20 inches across and 7 inches wide in depth. And then I'm going to cut out another one that's 9 inches by 20 inches. And then I'm going to cut out some strips, 4 strips that are 2 inches wide, 20 inches long and 2 inches wide and 7 inches long, so that we can make a base. So I'm going to do that and I'll be back once I've done that. So this is the bottom of the base, and then I've got the back bit, and then I've got the 4 strips to glue around the front. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to glue the longer one across the cardboard using a glue gun. And I'm just going to stick the strip to the front. And then I'm going to stick the 2 side pieces to the side. And I'll be back once I've done that, guys. So now I'm just going to take the last strip of cardboard that we cut out and I'm going to glue this into the center. And this is just to give the base a bit more strength so that when we put the cabins and any decorations that we decide to use on top of it, that it doesn't bend, and it just gives it a little bit more strength. So I'm just going to use that with the glue gun and pop it in place. And then that's the base finished, and I'm not going to stick the back on just yet because we're going to be decorating it and painting it, and it'll just make life so much more difficult. So I'm just going to leave that off for now. But the next step I'm going to be doing is popping the cabins on top, roughly whereabouts I want them. And then in between the cabins I'm using one of the Christmas decorations from Asda. It's a tree, they were £1, and I just want to put that in the middle as our Christmas tree. So I'm just going to pop them roughly where I want them so that I can start to mark out where I want my path to go. So now all I'm doing is I'm just taking a pen and I'm just roughly drawing where I want my path to be. I know that I want it to go from both of the doorways of the cabin and around the Christmas tree, and then to the center of the box at the front. And then I also want a path to go from the center at the front to the left hand side, which is where the forest is. once I've made this and I've put them together. And you won't see the pen lines because we're going to be painting the box, and we're also going to be covering the box with the path that we're going to make as well. So now that I'm happy with how it's looking, I'm just going to mark roughly where the cabins are, and then we can start to make the path. So for the path, I'm using some of the stones that you can get from B&M's. They've got them on sale at the moment. They're normally £1.49, but they're only £1 at the moment. And this is what I'm going to be using for the path. I wanted it to be like cobblestones. And yeah, so I was really happy to get these for £1. And I'm just going to try and take out the flatter ones, and I'm going to pop them on the cardboard roughly where I want them, and I did a few at a time and then glued them into place, and I just played around until I was happy with how it was looking. And again, all I did was just pick them up, put a little bit of glue from the glue gun underneath them, and then stuck them in place. And I'm going to completely fill everywhere that we drew with the path, and I'll be back once I've done that, guys. So here's the path. I'm really happy with how it's looking. I can't wait to get the snow on it and see what it looks like. There will be little holes in between the stones, obviously, because they're not square, but we're going to be covering them with snow, so you won't see the cardboard underneath. But I'm just popping the cabins in place to see what it looks like. And yeah, I'm really, really happy with how it's looking. And then the next step is to paint the base. I'm using white acrylic paint, and I did 2 coats. I made sure that I did the sides and the front as well. And then I also did the backboard, and I painted that in a dark blue, and I did 4 coats for the back because I wanted it to be really dark blue. So it's all nice and dry now, and we can get on to the next step. But I'm just going to check to see what everything looks like by just popping the cabins back on the box and the tree, and yeah, just to see how everything's looking with it all together. So now that I know where everything is going to be, I'm just going to stick the tree down onto the cardboard before we put the snow. And I'm not going to stick the cabins down because obviously you need to be able to pick them up to turn the battery powered candle lights on and off. So the only thing that's going to be glued down is the tree. So I'm just going to pop that in the center. And then we can start to decorate the base of the display. So I'm using some of the fake snow from B&M's. It's £1.99 for quite a large bag, and it's really fine. I absolutely love the stuff. I've used it before in other crafts, and this is what I've got left over from my winter forest. And I'm using some PVA glue and a paintbrush, and I'm just going to start to paint the base of the box. And I did this in small sections. I just painted a small section with the glue and then just sprinkled some of the snow. And then patted it down to make sure that it was completely covered. And I'm just going to do this all over the base, completely all over, all the way around the path that we've just glued into place. And then I'll be back once I've done that. So I've completely covered the base and I'm just going to lift it up now and give it a light tap to get rid of the excess snow. And then with the snow that I've just tapped off, I'm just going to sprinkle it onto the stones. And then rub it into the gaps. And then I'm going to stick the back on. So the back's on and we can start to work on the fence. So I'm using lollipop sticks, these are from Poundland, and I'm using some matchsticks as well, which are also from Poundland. And I'm just going to hold roughly where I want the stick to be. And I thought about cutting them and then I thought, you know what, it doesn't matter really because you're not going to see them in the end anyway. So I'm just going to use the full stick, and because I'm going to be making something to go in front of it eventually, so you're not going to see the lollipop sticks that are over the white base bit at the bottom, so it didn't matter about cutting them. But I'm just going to hold one and roughly mark where the top of the box is. And then from that mark, I'm going to take one of the matchsticks, and about a centimetre above where we've just marked is where I'm going to put our first stick. And I'm just going to trim that. And I want to make sure that it doesn't go right to the end of the lollipop stick, because we're going to be sticking obviously more of these along. So we need to make sure there's space for the next one to go. And I'm just going to glue that in place. And then I'm going to do exactly the same, and I'm going to do it about a centimetre from the top. So here you can see, so we've got where I marked, then about centimetre, we've got the sticks, and they're just a little bit less than the edge of the lollipop stick, so that when we stick the next one down, there's enough space. Then I'm taking a full stick and I'm just going to stick that diagonally across. So here is what it looks like from the front, and I'm really happy with how it's looking. So now I'm going to do that all the way across the front from the edge of the path, and then I'm going to do the same on the other side as well. And I'm going to go to each of the ends of the box. So we're just going to carry on exactly how we've done it. So I just thought I jumped on because I decided what I wanted to do was the brace in the middle, the diagonal stick. I want them to be opposite to each other on either side so that they're not the same. So I just thought I'd share. That's what I did in the end. I just thought that that looked better than it all being the same way. So yeah, I'm going to carry on. I'm going to do the fronts and then I'm going to do the same for the sides as well. So I've done the two fronts and I just thought I'd show you what it looks like up to now. So that's the right hand side and this is the left hand side. And now I'm just going to do exactly the same for the sides as well. So I've just placed them. They're not glued at the moment because we need to paint them, but I just wanted to show you what it looks like. Obviously there is a gap where the path is because when I build the next display that goes in front of it, you want to be able to get the path, and I'm going to continue the path, so I wanted the gap in between the fence. And yeah, really happy with how it's looking. Now I'm going to paint it in acrylic paint. I'm going to do it the same colour, the dark brown, as I did the cabins. I'm going to do 2 coats. I think 2 coats will be enough. I'm going to do the front and the back, and I will be back once that's done. So the fence is still drying, but for the next part I used a pair of earrings that I got from Poundland, and these are just Christmas wreath ones, and I want to glue these to the front of the cabins, one on each side, or one on each cabin even. And I'm just going to use a little bit of hot glue at the top. These actually light up, guys. They flash. I'm probably not going to have them flashing, but yeah, I'm just going to glue them to the top of the cabin. Like so. And do exactly the same with the other one. And then now I'm going to add the lights to the tree. So these are from Poundland. They're micro lights and they're multicolored. I'm just going to put the batteries in and check that they work before I put them on the tree. I always do this with everything whenever I'm using lights. And they're fine. So now I'm going to wrap them around the tree. So I'm going to start at the top. And then work my way around and down to the bottom of the tree. And I'll be back once it's done. So I've got the lights on and I've just put one of the cabins in place, and the battery pack is actually next to the cabin so you can't see it. And I'm just putting the tea lights in underneath the cabins. And then the last thing to do is actually glue the fence around the edge. So I'm just going to glue the 2 edge pieces and the 2 front pieces, and I'll be back once I've done that, guys, and you can see what it looks like. And here it is. I'm so happy with it. I just think it looks adorable. So yeah, really happy with how it's turned out. And like I said, I'm not going to decorate the bottom bit because I'm going to do another display in front of it. This is going to go at the side of the forest, which I've got at the moment on my window ledge. So that is going to go next to there. And then on the left hand side of the forest, I'm going to do something else, and that's going to be my next miniature project that I'll be working on. But yeah, really happy with how it's turned out. I haven't put the lights on it before I did it for this, and I was so excited to see what it looked like. And this is what it looks like lit up, and I absolutely adore it. I think it's wonderful. I do. I really like it. I'm so happy with how it came out. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed today's video, guys. I will be back tomorrow. I'm gonna do a vlogmas. I've got the tree up. I'm gonna put the decorations on tomorrow, guys. I'm actually gonna get around to doing it. So I will see you tomorrow for tomorrow's video. Take care for now, everybody. I hope you're all well and having a wonderful week, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye for now.